I've seen. I when I first was browsing through our notes, I was like, "Is this a vibrator you control with your phone? Because that's pretty rad." And then I saw the hand cupping of the belly, and I'm like, "That doesn't seem right for masturbation."
Jams for your clam.
Jams for your clam.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
Radio for your lady-o.
You know what though? Here's the deal.
But here's the thing. No, here's the thing, guys. There's a link here. There's a YouTube link to the very first, and I'm not joking, vaginal concert.
Okay, I'm going to search that.
All right, so this is where I say to myself, like, we have too much time on our hands. Because in America, this shit happens. In Europe, you don't see this kind of thing happening. And I feel it's just innovation has reached a new level. And I don't know if I should admire it or be afraid of it because it's concerning what we're doing. And consumerism maybe is a part of this. But
so I've got a confession.
Is this your product? I'm sorry.
No.
Do you have one?
But I did have something similar.
Okay.
Did you have like the little headphones that go on your stomach?
It wasn't like that. It was like a fanny pack, but it was called Baby Plus. And it worked.
What is it supposed to do?
So it's a series of probably about 20 beat lessons. Like it's not music, but it's like different beats. And so you started, I think, at like 16 weeks, and it'll start with like just a tap, like just a rhythm. And the baby is listening to that and the other normal sounds inside the womb. And then by the end of like the last lesson, it's like a whole bunch of different beats. Okay. But you have a series of time, and you wear it in the morning. So I did it at 7:00. So I did it 7:00 getting ready for work, and 7 p.m., at the same time. Mm-hmm. So that when the baby's born, it's already more alert and more apt to a schedule to get it to sleep through the night.
Oh.
And it also helps them with other milestones, do things faster, and their brain is already stimulated. So my kids slept through the night, like right away. I think it was like,
see, if that's a benefit, if you sell it to me that way.
That's the only reason why I did it, but they're extremely intelligent. And
the fetuses?
I did it with both of them.
The only reason to buy this Baby Pod vaginal sound system is to cram it up there and play some classic rock, and it got a Vita and some Iron Maiden and some.
So that makes me think Def Leppard, what every baby should hear. Pretty much, yeah.
Pour some sugar on me. That's what the baby needs to be hearing. That is what the baby needs to be hearing.
Apparently, you're having my baby because I feel the same. I want my daughter to be able to dance on a car. No. Just kidding. But seriously, when I think about that model, is it less, what would you call that? Is the cervix and the uterine, like the vagina to uterine, is that thinner? Like going up your vagina, is that more effective than going around your belly as far as sound waves are concerned? Like that's a question I would ask for this.
Yeah, but I'm not sticking anything up.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like I'm hesitant. I want to know who designed this stick it up there kind of thing because.
Yeah. We'll do a little research. And hey, Baby Pod, if you want to sponsor us, maybe we'll do another segment.
I haven't had children yet, but maybe like your 5.0 model would be a consideration.
I think Baby Pod is actually out of Spain. So, yeah.
Tell me it's in Barcelona.
Out of. So there you go. There's a day trip for you.
Let's have Carson work on this angle.
Yeah, you can speak to him.
Mm-hmm. So my girlfriend's got this podcast, and if you'd like to sponsor it, she'll shove some stuff up it.
There's nothing growing in there, but her uterus will be very happy.
We get to pick the playlist, though.
Sure. See how my uterus responds. My empty uterus.
I want Taylor Swift on that playlist.
Oh, God, how dare you? How dare you, sir?
I want
dooming.
Creed, yes.
Dooming.
What totally offensive, songs can we figure out how to play into Cassie's hoo-ha?
Yeah,
send it to us.
I'm sure there's a long list you all could create.
Yeah, tweet us your
my
hoo-ha.
What is the most inappropriate song to play in your hoo-ha?
Yep, Twitter, tweet us, do it. All right. So I have found that my single guys and girls, there's an expectation to you swipe and then you send a nude. And it's pretty quickly from what I've found. I think you send a nude before you actually have a conversation on a cell phone. Is that something that you...
Wait, what is the context here? Are we talking specifically about like a specific application? Or?
I'm talking about my single friends right now that have used Bumble and Twitter, or not Twitter, Bumble and Tinder. Tinder are like, well, yeah, you send nudes before your first date. I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't even know you. And they get like multiple angles, and like it's just a normal thing where is this like something you've experienced, Cass, back in the day when you were swiping, where would they be like, hey, you send some nudes? Like, how quickly did that happen for you?
The only time that happened very quickly was when I was in Vegas. And I think those expectations are very different when you're swiping in Vegas. You're like, girls trip or whatever the hell it is. Like, I got those very quickly. But outside of that, I never received any unwarranted. And if you remember talking to Jess, like she had exchanged nudes with a few people, but only after talking to them for like a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say that that's normal at this point in time, but I haven't been on for multiple years. Well, a year now, but I don't think that that's normal. I think normal would be the best statement.
So pro tip, never get your face in a picture,
never,
right?
Never, ever, ever, ever.
Tiger, Lindsay.
And if you're going to put your face in it, only make it a partial feature, like non-distinguishable, right? Like a corner of your smile. Like just be very creative, but just keep it out of there if possible.
Did she once have... Actually, that can be dangerous. Brian and I have a friend who, when he was single and he was doing this, she did get the right side of her face.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just thought it was like trying to do that. When he went for the date, unfortunately, she had a stroke. No. And so the left side was everything was droopy. But she sent a lot of nudes.
Well, bless her.
Yes. Anyway, so
interesting angle to take there. Literally.
Brian, I mean, you've been married, but like for your single friends, would you agree that people are sending a lot more nudes than back in the day?
I don't know. Like when we talked about sex tapes, I think it's just like I definitely know that there's a different expectation as far as before you get hooked up with somebody. Like there's a lot of sharing of stuff, but it just seems really, really sad to me. It seems like just attention-seeking behavior as far as,
Yeah, I don't get the point of it, honestly. I mean, even if you're planning on having sex with that person just for a hookup, like the idea of just exchanging nudes for the sake of it, like I don't want to give someone that content if you're already kind of bought into fucking me. Like, what's the point? Like, I don't understand.
I don't think anyone has to buy into fucking you.
But do you know what I mean? Like, you're already like kind of talking about it. You're already like a part of it. And then why am I going to send you collateral? Like, I don't, just so you can like hold it against me later.
Yeah. Like literally, like you're giving somebody leverage over you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cause that's exactly what it is. And some people don't care, which is totally fine. We live in a world where things can be shared so quickly. Like you really have to think about where things are going. Nothing's ever safe.
But that's where
to hand it over willingly is just another story, right? Like to just surrender.
But that's where I was going with this. The difference between a sex tape and what's happening now is very, very different.
Are people still doing like I would say having sex on camera was kind of like a big thing when I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
Is that still something that people are like, oh, we should record ourselves? Or am I just dating myself?
No, I haven't had anyone ask me since my fiance, which was when I was 23. So
which was like last year. Yeah.
That was right after college. No. You're sweet. You're so kind. You're my favorite.
Okay. So he asked, did you do one?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you still have it?
No, it wasn't on my phone. It was on his flip phone because that's how old I am, Brian.
Well, how old I am is like sex tapes. The actual term actually comes from actual tapes.
Sure.
Yes.
No, he recorded on his phone, but the cloud was just becoming a thing. People didn't know how to use it. Like sharing meant looking at it on someone's phone or it being, I don't even know if you could text videos at that point in time. I really don't. I think you had to watch it.
Somebody at Nokia still has that tape.
Which is fine. I'm okay with it. Like I own it. Whatever. It's not gonna ruin my career. Knock on wood. Literally.
Does it bother you that it's probably considered vintage at this point?
Maybe a little. I look good.
Brian,
though.
do you have a tape out there?
I'm sorry, do I?
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing we're ever going to talk about.
What? This is a podcast, bro.
No, I don't have a tape out there. Nobody needs to see this. I got no special moves. There's nothing.
You're so many shades of red right now.
Oh, am I?
Chartreuse.
Yeah.
Maybe that's my I'm lying face.
Could be.
Your network. Yeah.
So no. Jenny, how many do you have?
How many do you have?
Is there a catalog?
So no.
She has her own iCloud.
Mine cannot be found, unfortunately.
Cannot.
Challenge.
Wait, you tell me where it's at and let me tell you how I can find it.
All right.
Just describe 3 things in the room and we can do like a data search and
So I was dating a guy in college, and this was the time where like you had video cameras, but they were like smaller. At least they were smaller. They were like the size of 2 fists. And my roommate had one, and she was like, "Oh, do you want to borrow it?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do that." Because I thought, things are not going to get better looking wise than right now. Like I'm in my prime. I have a serious boyfriend that was good looking, and everything was looking great. And we had the tape was so good. Like the angles were perfect and the lighting was like awesome. Like I was like really proud of it. And then I dated, he wanted to get married. I didn't. There's a theme there. And so then I dated my next boyfriend. And
so as soon as they say, "Will you marry me?" that's whenever you're hitting the exit door and you're like,
yeah, 7 times.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
it was. I just
is there that's a thing though? Like that's the runaway bride type thing, but that's a thing about like as soon as somebody gets to the point where they're like, "I want to marry you," and Jenny says, "Okay, awesome. Here's your exit papers."
Yeah.
Okay, may I propose? Yeah. And we take a note of this.
No.
Oh, that was good. I didn't even try. Natural. Okay, let me rephrase that idea. Let's write this down. And can we please do a show on like I do not kind of thing? Because you've had marriage proposals. I've had them. Like I want to talk about that at some point in time.
Okay.
Scratch that to the side.
Do a little. Yep.
Because there's more there for both of us.
Okay, I'm sorry. I interrupted you, Jenny. So he proposed. You said see ya, and you were with a new guy.
I'm with a new guy, and I don't know. I don't think I Sharpied on the side of it like sex tape.
Smart move.
I think I did like innuendo of something like else, like, oh, that field trip or whatever. And somehow my boyfriend was like, "Oh, what are these tapes? Let's throw one in." I'm like, no, let's not. And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "One of those tapes is just not appropriate." But like, I looked so good. And he was like, "Why do you still have this?" I'm like, "Because I looked amazing." And he was just like, "Well, if you don't care about him anymore, you would be fine with me taking the tape out and and